I have no reason for clapping, but you guys are in for a treat. Welcome to the Learn Show section we have at the beginning of every one of these hatecasts. Now, this is your host, Bryce Allen. Today I'm joined by a guest that you guys have not seen for a while. Ryan Skelley. We go over his health things that's still going on, but he's actually able to get back into the gym, and we talk a little bit about bodybuilding contest prep. We talk a little bit about teaching specifically. He actually teaches for a living. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we go over all sorts of stuff. So with that being said, great episode. I am actually a big fan of his personally, so I always enjoy talking with Ryan. So on the sales end, I'm not going to fuck it up this time. I can actually speak because I am all slept up. I was having some sleep issues, and now I'm back on top of things. But you should be on top of our BOGO if you have not tried the Chemical Series. Chemical Series, everything is still BOGO. It's buy one Chemical Series, get another one absolutely free. Now, as I kill time right now, making sure that I got that correct, and I did. Along with the Chemical Series being on BOGO, there's a 25% off code to use with the sale. There's also Red Sky that is on sale. Also, be aware that this mess won't be there in the video, so enjoy that. Now, without further ado, I screwed up in the last little portion. I'm just going to keep rolling. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the newest hatecast, and I am joined by Ryan Skelley. I am going to go ahead and do something I've never done before. Okay, you ready for this, Ryan?
Yeah.
Hey guys, a little bit of behind the scenes. Right now I'm recording with Ryan Skelley. It should be up this Sunday, and this will be in the video because we don't edit out here. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting 2K subscribers. And as always, look forward to an amazing episode when that does eventually air. I'm not trying to draw this out to kill time either. I would never do that. Watch the hatecast. And there's my Instagram post.
I was going to say, was that Instagram? Yep.
Boom!
Done.
Fucking stepping our social media game up.
2K's
So what
pretty
if...
good.
Yeah. Well, what have you been up to, man? I know one thing changed, a big change in your life. Well, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're with the right person. You got engaged.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I did. I mean, we got engaged Christmas Eve, and, everyone was, oh, you're nervous, you're nervous. I'm like, no, not really, because like you said, when you know it's the right person, it's, like, not much to be nervous about. I feel like it's almost like if you have preparing for a game, if you're not prepared, or like for a test, you're not prepared, well, then you're nervous. Because you're like, oh, shit. Yeah. But I still got, like, when it came down to crunch time, I was nervous. Like, when it came down to getting down on the knee and doing it, I was shaking a little bit. I kind of blacked out. But up until then, it would kind of come and go. But, I mean, we've been together for over 3 years now. So it was really just a matter of time. I just had to pull the trigger.
She's making you have a run for your money too, isn't she?
She's pretty.
She gains
jacked.
muscle like nothing.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. But man, it just I'm so happy for you, man. It's just I know people think it's a piece of paper, but for people who do really care about it, like the commitment, I guess is the biggest thing.
That is, and I waited till I was, I'm 29. We dated for 3 years. I waited. And it sounds bad, but, you see some people who, at a really young age, like, and it's not always true because my best friend, he has been with his wife since high school, and they're actually, in the process of expecting, and, I mean, he's a doctor, and that's the case, but anymore in our society, I feel like you see people get, married at a really, really young age, and they
Yeah.
don't really know what they want in life, and that's not always the case. But when you see how high the divorce rate is anymore compared to just 15 years ago, it's pretty crazy. But then again, you do have a lot of people who are getting, like me, getting engaged when they're almost 30 because they're kind of trying to like live their life or whatever it is. My thing was I wanted to get a job where I was set. I knew I wasn't moving around anymore because I've done a lot of moving with my baseball career and grad school, and I wanted to be set somewhere. And then, we're looking at houses and trying to do things.
That's always fun.
Oh, it's been hell. It's been a crazy few months of, looking at houses, and then also, there is a budget, so that doesn't always make it easy either. So
yeah.
But yeah, we're just trying, taking the next steps and growing up. Guess
yeah, and let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, because this podcast isn't about just bodybuilding and fitness. It's about everything, because that's what we are. We're just a mixed match of people. Here at Chaos and Pain, and in life in general, people are so afraid of getting married, because they're like, well, she gets half the house, or things get messy and all that stuff. But I was talking with a buddy of mine up at the gym. He's a pilot, right? And there's people that there's in the industry that he's in, right, which is like private helicopter pilots, weird industry, right?
Yeah.
There's certain employers that he's been with that wouldn't work with people who weren't married because they still got some growing up to do.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying that that's the case for everybody, but I would like to kind of pick your brain. How would you, especially because you're a teacher, how would you say young people what were some of the first steps young people could do to get their lives together?
I mean, the biggest thing I tell a lot of people is, and what really kind of clicked for me was, it sounds really cliche, but actually writing out your goals. So when I was 20, I said, okay, by the time I'm 25, here are 5 things I want to have done. So it's kind of like a short term, but then also, a long term, 5-year increments. So I said, by the time I was 25, I wanted to finish college. I wanted to hopefully be playing baseball, which I did. Get my master's, like certain things. So then by the time I was 30, my goal was, okay, by the time I'm 30, I want to have, I want to be in a committed relationship. I want to have a job that I'm happy with, that I know I'm not going to want to leave and go teach or coach somewhere else every year. And I want to be in an area that I can consider home that I really like. And so I'll be 30 in August, and, those four of the 5 goals are done. The last one is trying to find a house. I bought a truck, so I actually own a vehicle instead of leasing.
That's what's up.
So like just those little things, and I think it just keeps you on track for success and just staying focused, and it kind of forces you to grow up, because if you never at a young age, and when I say young, I'm saying like early 20s. I
know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean if you set those goals and you work towards them every day, every day you get 1% better, but it forces you to a certain extent grow up, because if you get those goals done, you're progressing your life in the direction where you should be by the time you're 30. You want to have financial stability. You should want to have a house. You should want to have a good relationship, things that you're going to build longevity with.
Right.
But if you don't start thinking about that till you're 30, well, now you're 40 and you're trying to find someone to marry or a job, and you see it all the time. There's people who just keep, not really setting themselves up for success by doing something as easy as just physically writing the goals down so you can see them, and not just talking about it.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell a lot of my students. Even kids who have graduated, they're in college, they still talk to me, and it's easy, but it does work.
Yeah.
So.
No, I completely get you. I had 2 very good examples growing up, and this is a little bit of Bryce trivia here. So I had an example of why you should probably stay within the boundaries of the law. I had an uncle that was in prison for 40 years just because of a multiple run of I'm gonna do what I want, you know.
Right.
And then on the opposite end, I had my dad, which is like, you know, I don't want to float his ego if he listens to this, but he's kind of like, you know, my stupid hero or whatever. Stop. I know he's over there like fucking crying right now if he's listening to this, but like, look, you know, he worked, you know, several different jobs. I mean, there was at one point where he was in Houston where he worked basically from sun up to sundown and then passed. He had like 2 hours of sleep a night or some stupid crap like that. He ended up saying, I'm done with this whenever he was throwing papers. He came home and just blood shot out of his nose. He was just such in bad health when it comes to just what he was doing to himself. And moved to Austin, Texas. A bunch of stuff happened, yada, 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 right? Started working as a maintenance man for a property management company. And then one day he owned it. Like, complete success story, you know?
Yeah.
And now, you know, he's got rental property. He's, you know, got the property management company. He manages over 900 properties in Austin, Texas. And there's something that he kind of instilled in me when I was younger, which was when you have something you're working towards in life, don't try and do it all at once. Chip away.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, life, and I know this is starting to turn into one of those life coaching things, and we'll kind of fucking get off of that because I know it's so corny. Like a fitness YouTube channel, you know, being life coaches, and I know that's rampant. Calm down. Yeah, I really would like to get this across to our younger audience. You know, just chip away at things. Don't try and do it all at once. You have a goal of being, like, for example, you know, of earning $100K a year. Like, you know, get you know, $100K a year by 40. You know, go into a profession, look up what the average, you know, salary is, and then chip away at getting into that profession. You know, I hate to say it's that easy, but if you really sit down and analyze things, I'm not saying it's that easy, but I'm saying that you'll get a lot further in life if you do that. You just start to chip away. I mean, it's just like getting shit done for Chaos and Pain, you know? I mean, we have some person, and Sean O'Connor, if you're listening, man, we appreciate you being one of our most badass ambassadors. But this guy didn't get taken care of for 6 months. So, you know, I kept chipping away at getting the problem solved, and, you know, he's finally getting his stuff shipped out to him. He's finally got everything caught up, and it's just, man, when something comes to fruition after all this hard work, it really does. Like, it gives you a greater appreciation for life.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Man, you know, I could ramble on that forever. Let's switch gears. So, I did want to ask you some things. And guys, if you want us to go into more of that sort of like, I'd say about life coaching stuff and like how you can improve your life, just general like non-fitness related stuff, please let us know in the comment section below. We'll cover that in another episode. But I did want to ask you, how's your health issues coming?
It's going good. I mean, I have to go Thursday. I have to swallow a camera pill and check my intestine because the colonoscopy, endoscopy only goes so far, and that came back as negative. So I still had no idea why my iron was so low. But I'll swallow the camera pill and hopefully they tell me something. But the last like 2 weeks I've been having like some digestion gut issues, and I think potentially from like what I'm feeling and the signs, it could be an ulcer, which could potentially make sense as why my iron was low. Which is, I mean, they can fix that pretty easily through antibiotics. But the biggest thing I've noticed is like the last 2 weeks, my appetite, I'll start to eat, and then I would literally get nauseous to where I thought I was going to throw up, and I would dry heave. Nothing would happen, but I haven't been able to eat normal. Been pretty bloated, but if I do, you know, I can feel like the acid buildup. So like the apple cider vinegar, I've been paying a lot more attention to gut health the last year or so and doing more research on it. And I have noticed like one thing is using our fruits and greens product in the morning has really helped a lot with a little bit of glutamine because that actually helps your GI tract. Glutamine does. Apple cider vinegar. And another one people don't know about, it's called black seed. Black seed. Yeah, it tastes like hell. But the store I work at part-time from being a teacher, people buy it like crazy. And they swear by it. It's good for digestion, mental clarity, inflammation.
What is it?
I've been trying to do more research on it, but it's just a seed. You can buy it in like capsule form or liquid. It kind of tastes like when you smell oil in your car. Like, it doesn't taste very good. It's not terrible. I've definitely chugged worse, but
when did you start taking supplements?
What's that?
When did you start taking when was your first supplement?
Probably high school. You know, when I started.
You've tasted worse. Yeah.
The nose flow that you instantly shit your brains out. The protein powders that everything was so bad till Muscle Milk came around as a glorified sugar scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I have.
But anyway, so black seed. So that seems to help you?
It does. It helps with digestion. It reduces inflammation also in the gut, but also like overall inflammation in your body. But a lot of customers, they rant and rave about it. And the owner and another kid, the stores, they're based more like on organic, all natural products, no sucralose, but they do have a sport line area, which is kind of what I handle. Right. So I've been learning a lot more about the organic aspect, essential oils, all that stuff. And I tell you what, man, it really has made a difference. Just in the 2 days I've noticed, it's made a significant difference. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens within a week of using it. It's not expensive. It just tastes like ass, and like you kind of burp it up. But it's not terrible. Like I said, people who say it's god-awful, they just haven't really lived their life, because I've tasted way worse things before.
You've been through a party phase too, right?
Right, yes. I've been through
Jaeger bombs.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. And throwing it up, and then, But yes, there's been, I've been focusing more on like the probiotics, digestive enzymes, all that stuff, just to focus on your gut health, because really too, with being a bodybuilder and always eating, if your gut health isn't good, you're wasting your time. If you're not able to absorb the foods you're eating, or you eat and you constantly go to the bathroom or whatever it is, if your gut health is not optimal, then why eat? Or why focus on eating 5-6 times a day of clean food when your body's going to absorb 2 of those meals because your GI tract isn't where it needs to be.
Something can happen too with bodybuilders that start from skinny frames and then build up to large. Like I went, reverse, and then
the opposite, right?
Yeah, but skinny frames to large is they start to develop, because of the food intake, they start to develop this insane acid reflux.
Yep.
And you see this all the time at competitors, especially close to the show date.
Oh, yeah. My last show, dude. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. That was, yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about that? So, for those of you who are unaware, bodybuilding prep is one of the most mentally draining. Now, it's short, relatively speaking, but it is one of the most mentally draining things that you can do. Physically, you can handle the physical, right? I mean, you're an athlete. You can handle going in there, doing your cardio, yes, I'll do this. You can handle the recovery aspects, but just the mental toll that it has on you when you're so deep in prep. When you sleep on your ribs, when there's no padding in your feet, that's when it really gets to you. Your body sends all these signals saying, hey, I need food. Do not do this to me. And getting through it can sometimes be a pain. And bodybuilders have some of the weirdest stories about what happened to them in prep, Because it's just off-the-wall stuff. But
my last one was obviously really short. I mean, it was only, 4 or 5 weeks, but probably like 4 or 5 days out when I started carb loading, I was just getting really bad acid reflux. Excuse me. I never had it before, so I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I mean, what really kind of triggered it was like artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. But I was like, this is terrible, because I never experienced it. So I was doing the Tums and whatnot, and the day before the show, I was eating, but like I wasn't going to the bathroom, and I was just getting so bloated. My stomach was getting tight. And then that night, I literally just, I forced myself, two double cheeseburgers, fries, and at like 3 in the morning I woke up, and thank God, I went to the bathroom. And there's just certain things you can do, but one thing I neglected was like keeping the fiber in,
Right.
keeping like just the fruits and greens drink in the morning, because when you start prepping, you're like, I don't want any extra calories or this or that.
Right.
But those things are really beneficial when you're prepping. Like, you need to keep your fiber in, because when your food gets low, you're going to get irregular with going to the bathroom as if you were bulking.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're keeping your GI tract and things as regulated as you can to avoid the issues. It's very easy to, get the acid reflux or a bad reaction to the food when you're prepping. And the last thing you want to do is get that close to the show, and then you have an issue. I also, at the same time, though, did that last show not realizing my iron issue and being anemic. My hemoglobin was still like at a 10.5 or 11 when I did that last show, and I still prepped with it, which, looking back, was, luckily I was okay. I mean, it probably wasn't the smartest, but
can you go ahead and cover something for me, because I've always been kind of curious about this. What did the low hemoglobin feel like? Like, what were the symptoms you were having to deal with every single day for a little while?
Really pale, like really dark eyes. The hardest thing for me was getting up in the morning. Like, getting up was a struggle. And the amount of stimulants I was using just to literally function, as in like go to the store. My ambition to do things was down the shitter. Like, once I would get home from work and went to the gym, I didn't want to do anything else, because I had no mental clarity. I was just always so exhausted. So definitely, like, the stims I was using is only made me get through, but just to do your normal day stuff, or even like to talk to someone on the phone, I'll be like, hold on, let me take some stims just to get by. I mean, it was just, you never want to do anything extra or that you would normally do. You literally just always kind of feel like you're in a fog.
Were you dealing with like shallow breathing all the time, and
it
felt like it was hard to catch your breath? Yeah,
I just figured I wasn't doing cardio anyway. But the more my hemoglobin went down, I was like, okay, well, then I was done, and I was just kind of maintaining my weight. And then when my hemoglobin was really low, down to like 7 or 8, I was bulking. So I thought, I'm just short of breath because I'm a fat ass and I'm not doing cardio. And, walking the steps, I'm breathing heavy.
Right.
But come to find out, those were all signs, and I was holding water in my legs. My hair was falling out. And it was all just things I thought, well, all right, I'll cut my carbs down, my sodium, because I'm holding water,
Right.
I was trying to justify everything without realizing what was going on, but I also didn't know what to look for and know what was going on, So they're not all things I pay attention to.
If you're anything like me, you'll use every excuse in the world not to go to the doctor.
I did 100%. No question. I would never have gone if I didn't try to donate blood. I would have just been like, well, whatever. I just need a rest from the gym or whatever it may be. So I'm not one to go to the doctor, and it's definitely backfired at times. So I've been smarter about that too,
Yeah. Now let's take a step back. I know this prep went that way. So preps previously, what were some of the things that you experienced while deep in prep? Do you have anything that comes to mind when it comes to really bad preps that were just uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is when you start dreaming about food, and you wake up and you're starving, or you can't go to sleep because you're just so hungry. Like, trying to go to sleep when you're hungry is one of the hardest things ever. And just always kind of being restless. You're not getting a lot of sleep because if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's hell because you're hungry.
Right.
So then, I'd wake up and I would maybe drink a diet soda, or I might eat like a celery stick something that didn't have any calories just to put something in my stomach so I could go back to sleep.
Right.
That, and I did a lot more cardio in the past, and there was one time, and I was with my, well, not fiance, but it was the first, we've been together, I don't know, maybe 5 months, and I was getting ready for Team U, and we were doing cardio, and at one point she looks over and she's like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "Just give me a minute," because the cardio got to the point where once it got 20 minutes in, I can make it the next 20. But it was at points very excruciating just to keep my feet moving, and the mindset with a couple weeks to go, when you're working a full-time job, you're coaching, getting up at 4:30 to do cardio before work all day, then lift, then do cardio. It was just the point where, like, my body literally just hurt. Like,
Yeah.
it would take me a couple minutes on the Stairmaster at like level 2 just to motivate myself to get moving, because and just sitting in front of the gym looking at the door and be like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like, I do not want to go in here. Like, I have no desire to lift weights. And that was the hardest part, is because you never feel good, you never get a pump, So the last thing you do is like, oh, I'm ready to go in and set a PR or get a pump. No, you literally go in there, you're there to move weight, and only thing that really keeps you going is you start to look better. For me, like, from the neck down, I should say,
Yeah.
I was starting to look better.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see the results in your body changing. And I'm kind of mentally fucked up in the regards of, like, I liked the pain. Like, I loved when it got really hard. I liked the pain.
I think you'll find that's
shit.
common, though.
For athletes, people who compete, who were former athletes, I think that's the competitive edge. That's the challenge. But an average person who says, I want to compete, they don't embrace that. And people complain about prep. It's like, well, listen, you have a choice. No one's making you do this. No one's making you diet. It's your choice. You're not making money doing this. You're losing money. So,
I have a theory on that. I have a theory, because you have people that, and then you'll find this is very common too. You'll find a lot of people who are now living a sober lifestyle in the bodybuilding, fitness, all that stuff lifestyle, because it gives them another venue for endorphins.
Right.
Now, I do truly believe that the people who are best at bodybuilding and best in the fitness industry have either low dopamine or low serotonin levels to begin with, and they use that as kind of a stopgap to get them by. I think that there is a very real chemical imbalance that, and I mean, this may be bullshit. I'm gonna put that out there, but I just find it funny that people who are, hardcore drug addicts usually end up, or not usually end up, but I'm saying there's a large portion of them in the bodybuilding fitness. And you have people that, they go to the gym, they get endorphins, and then when they don't go to the gym, they act like an asshole. I don't know if you do, but I certainly do. I certainly get that.
I think,
and it's a healthy way to kind of get those endorphins. And that's why I'd like to see some rehab centers get some fitness, have like a little physical fitness portion to them. Right.
No, it definitely. Science has shown it definitely helps with that. And when I would say when I was younger and I was first competing, I used to wake up every day at 5:30 just to eat my first meal and go back to bed. I ate every 3 hours. I was so structured. And now that I'm 29, I look back and I'm like, you know what? It was a great experience. I loved it because it taught me responsibility and structure and discipline. But now that I'm where I'm in my life with teaching, coaching, the fiance, luckily she works out and she competes, so it's good. But I'm not nearly as crazy as I used to be, because looking back, it definitely affected relationships with people, and I wouldn't have a snack or a cheat unless it was scheduled from my coach. And now I'm a little more lenient, and I actually feel like my physique has benefited from that, because I'm not as wound so tight about my eating on the minute, and I have to go to the gym today. I've got to do this workout. And
it's stressful.
Right, and I was young, and I had nothing else. I just finished playing ball. I wasn't seeing anybody. I was just focused on me. and my goals. So at the time, it was good. It made sense. But now that I'm older, and I will prep again. It's not hard, but I've learned how to balance it out. And that, if I feel like shit one day, don't go to the gym. It's going to make me better. And if I'm a half hour late on my meal, it's not the end of the world, But I used to be like, we would finish training. I'm like, we have to go home right now. I've got to eat within 30 minutes. And I'm looking back, I'm like, you know what? That's just not healthy. And you still see a lot of people especially with social media, it's really gone in a negative aspect. Everybody wants to post their food and post they're doing this and that. And kind of like you said, with the endorphins or the addictive personality or things like that, people are going on the social media and posting all this because they want that, I don't know if you can say that clarity, but that self-appreciation from other people. If I show off I'm doing this, people are going to understand. At the end of the day, as I've gotten older, you realize, who gives a shit what other people think? Do what you want to do because you want to do it for yourself. If I want to compete again, it's because I want to do a show. I don't care if I get 1,000 Instagram followers because I'm shredded and I'm posting pictures. Like, it's not going to pay my bills. And I've just kind of changed my outlook, and it's made me a lot healthier. And I try to preach that to like my clients and other people and say, do this because you enjoy it. You'll be a lot more successful. You'll have a lot more longevity. And if I never compete again, I will still always work out. I'll try to be a super dad looking guy, and I'll still always eat my meals. But if I miss a meal one day, I'm not going to lose sleep or force it down so I'm going to puke,
It's funny you bring all this stuff up because, my own little story is, I calorie count year round. I mentioned that before, all that stuff. When Christmas hit this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to be competing in 2022. I think that's the date I'm shooting for. It'll give me 4 years to pack on mass. I should have enough by then to actually be competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2022. So I'm going to take a week off of counting absolutely anything. And I've done this. I'm still, this is my last little hurrah,
Right.
I'm going to have a pizza today. I'm going to have a drink later. I'm probably going to have way too much sugar. But at the end of the day, like, when I first came up here to Arkansas, I was so stringent on my diet, that, and I mean, I wouldn't change, like you said, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was actually kind of fun. It was kind of fun eating every 2 hours. It was kind of fun getting up and doing your cardio at 5 a.m. It was kind of fun doing all this stuff. But I also realized as I get older, it kind of gets in the way of stuff. It's like you were saying, life. And this week off has kind of taught me something too. I can probably end up taking some time off once a year because I think that's healthy, a little reset button.
Yep, you need it. The mental, emotional stress, you need that break, and it's only going to benefit you not only mentally, but it will actually benefit your physique 100%.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a reason, and I'm not necessarily a big, gigantic, huge, like, shouting up and down, block training is the only way to go. But there's a reason that the Russians took, a little bit of time off or reduced their training frequency, because that's something everybody can kind of look at and physically see the studies and stuff like that, right? Is that the training we see with, the Russian powerlifter, Olympic lifters, and stuff like that, and their periodization, right? So I think that they did make sense when it comes to taking some time off, reducing training frequency, and all that stuff. And this has kind of just cemented that for me,
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt.
I switched for the first time ever. I'm removing barbell bench press from my routine, right? I am removing traditional back squats. I am removing deadlifts. And now I'm doing things that will help me keep my strength up in those
rack
movements.
Rack pulls? Okay.
I'm actually not doing rack pulls. Here's the thing. Bent over rows, I truly do believe will keep your deadlift strength.
Yeah, there's a lot of staples. If you do them right and you go as long as you're progressing, yes, because there's a lot of stabilization you must use to do 315-pound barbell row properly.
Right.
You know?
Well, I'm also doing like, bent over barbell rows, pull-ups, shrugs, all these little minute details. I'm doing like hyperextensions instead of traditional hamstring curls, so I can have that stretch reflex. I mean, it's all, but it's all kind of cool. It's given me a little bit of variation, and I used to be kind of prone to the same thing that I see a lot of younger people do, especially when it comes to the fitness industry. They're afraid to change their routine, like their muscle or proficiency at a movement is magically going to go away, but it's not.
Yeah.
And
one thing I've noticed too is a lot of people, they go to the gym, they say I lift 6 days a week, 7 days a week. I said, well, either you have a job where you can eat, sleep, and train, that's all you do, and
or you're 18.
Or you're training like a pussy pretty much, because to train 6 days a week hard, you could do that for a month or so, and then your body is going to crash. And that if you're training hard. Now, everyone's definition of working out and training are two different things. I've noticed for me, 4 or 5 days a week, go in there and kill myself, I've gotten a lot fuller looking. I've gotten rounder. I've been able to fill out my frame a lot better by only going 4 or 5 days a week and really getting after it. Even with all these health issues I've had where I couldn't train for 2 weeks, and then I was like, okay, I'm good to go. And I got after it here the last, 6 weeks, and I got to like 270. Well, then I had this stomach issue, and I was eating like maybe 2 shakes a day some days. And, I'm like 260 or so, this morning I was like 263.
Oh, shit, we're the same weight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And without moderately eating, and I'm like, I didn't really lose much size because I've, training harder, you're building muscle the right way, and you're not relying on just supplementation. You're building a good base to where if you don't touch weights for a while, you're not going to melt. And if you train hard, no matter what you're eating or taking, you need to recover. So if you're working out upper, lower, lower.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm getting my headset real quick. This one died.
No, you're good. Yeah. It's just you need to recover to truly get results and to build a good base. And eventually, in the past, I used to work out 6 days a week, no problem. And I look back and I was like, man, how did I used to do that? Well, I was younger, but I also wasn't moving as much weight I am now and training nearly as hard. So that's kind of allowed me to keep my size through this last 4 months of the constant up and down, and really the frustration that's left me. Like some days I can eat, then I can't, and I just want to find answers. But I know once I'm cleared and I decide, okay, pedal to the metal, I'm going to force myself like my 6 meals and kind of get a little bit obsessed again, not crazy. Then I'm like, okay, there's no reason why I shouldn't push to 280 easily. Yeah. But when some days you can't eat and whatnot, if I were to still be trying to work out sometimes less is more. Less is better. And all of a sudden, they decrease volume. Yeah. They move some heavier weight. They lift 4 or 5 days a week, and next thing you know, they're putting on weight. And they're staying lean. And that also comes down to diet manipulation and stuff. But you see anymore, and it's all because people want to post on their Instagram they worked out today, right. And all the social media.
Rise and grind.
Yeah, I was watching Dave Palumbo. He did a lot of those interviews over in Dubai, which if you haven't watched them, they're fantastic.
Those are awesome. Those are fantastic. Dude, I loved the Kai Green interview. I'm a Kai Green fan.
That one was kind of annoying because he wouldn't just answer the questions, but
he's under a lot of pressure to keep things fucking quiet.
Yeah, and he wants to make money, so he likes suspense.
Well, I also think that he's wanting to come back to the Olympia. He just can't say shit, otherwise that may jeopardize his
right. I mean, he looks like a freak
chance.
still. Like, I mean, it's crazy what he looks like. He's 295 walking around just because.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not 6'5". I mean, this dude is he's a barrel of muscle. Did you see Big Rammy? Did you see his most recent post? He looks shredded. He looks shredded.
Well, who's he using this time? I'm
not really sure.
Oh, Neil Hill. Neil Hill is who he chose this time to prep him. But did you the Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman interview was really good. They talked about why is bodybuilding not like what it used to be, and because anymore they just want to post for their Instagram. They want that instant fame or the likes and the stories. So they're not just training. They're going in. They've got to post one hard set, and the rest is weak. And that's one thing. After hearing that, I've focused on too. I now put my phone in my gym bag, so my headphones are wireless, and I lift. And that's how I used to be. I used to not answer my phone when lifting. I'm gonna try to start going back that way. So I go in there. It's an hour. People are gonna think I'm a dickhead. I don't care. I'm not. I'm a nice guy. But
that's your you time. That's the time you're going to use to do the bodybuilding thing. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to take that approach and benefit from it. Don't worry about
if they bother you. If they bother you, and you could just say, you know what? Don't talk to me. If you want to know why, go listen to Hatecast.
Yeah.
And just like more advertising.
Yeah.
But no, it just I completely agree there. I will say that I think this social media thing, once we get a hold of it, is going to slowly become the norm. And I mean, look, I've said this before on the podcast before. Like when my dad was growing up, Leonard Skinner and all these other bands, they were the devil. And then when I was growing up, Marilyn Manson was the devil. And then now social media is the devil. So it's like every generation has their devil. It's just until we figure out how to fit this into our lives and not go freaking crazy. Like, I'm serious. If some guy were to go into a bar, right, or an establishment of any kind, and just shout at the top of their lungs the reviews that they leave on Google, they would be asked to leave. They would be escorted out. Like, there's no way that they're going to act that way in real life. But just like you were saying with social media, everybody's wanting to put up a front, and it's kind of dumb. I don't use social media. I know I should. It's probably hurting my career a little bit. I just not into it.
Yeah, I've kind of drifted away. I mean, I've posted 2 times in the last month or so.
Yeah.
Because I've just been busy with life, like real life shit, like trying to get things accomplished and goals.
Now you got wedding planning, or is she going to take that over?
No, we're going to do it together, but we're not doing anything real crazy. But even from that point, like when we got engaged, and my mom or someone said, "Did you post it yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't posted on social media for probably an hour or 2 after we did it." I said, because I want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to post about it. I don't want my phone going off with 1,000 notifications. I don't want that right now. Yeah. I want to enjoy the moment and what we're doing. I don't need social media's approval. I did post it more just because friends and family to see.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an instant thing. I waited a while because I wanted to enjoy the moment in the real life situation and not the superficial aspect of the social media. And, oh my God, we got 500 likes on our engagement. That's not why I got engaged. So that's not why.
You almost got that though.
yeah, I know. But I think my Instagram was over 1,000, but like Facebook was really high. Yeah. But that's not why. I'm not like, I'm going to get engaged just so I can post it on social media. And it's crazy. People don't do that. I hope not. I hope not. But people do things in their daily life to post it on their story or their Instagram page. And I just can't. It's crazy because I see it happen. I'm like, man, could you imagine? I'm going to do this today and this today just so I can post it. And it's just
I had a friend that leased a Bugatti. Yeah, I know. He leased a fucking Bugatti. By the way, that's more than a mortgage payment.
Right.
Much more than a mortgage payment to lease a Bugatti. And you did that for a post?
Unless Instagram's
What?
paying you that much money a month, it's a way, like, doesn't make sense.
He's Insta famous though. He's one of those
Yeah,
guys
well,
that, you know, I mean, he fucking, you know. Anyway, I can't say too much about him because he's the individual who also, you know, did some things that that I've talked about on the podcast before. I don't want to give too much away. He just irks me when he does stuff like that, you know.
I mean, there are people who pay their bills, that use social media to pay their bills, but honestly, anymore,
This guy's
it's far and
crazy.
few
He
between.
rented a house. He rented a house for a month so that he could say he lived in this house. Right? This is the level of delusion. And it was like this marble countertop, like nice, bougie, like had a pool in the back, and just, you know, hashtag rise and grind and all that bullshit. Right? He still lives in a studio apartment.
Right.
I mean,
but social media allows you to portray whatever you want people to see.
I'll be honest with you. He took like 100 to 400 photos of that, so he posts them throughout the year, so it makes it seem like he's still living there. But you know, it's just the magician, the magic act behind this is kind of cool. So that's why I'm so knowledgeable about it, because I kind of poked and prodded and see exactly what he does. But
yeah, there are people who do really well and they do make money, but anymore, because now social media is so flooded. It is rare that people can make like a full-on, legitimately good living off of social media.
I know, unless we get this thing up to 50,000 subscribers, which would be cool. So guys, work on it. But you know, when it comes down to it, like I know what you mean. It's, but I think we'll figure it out, man. These kids, if you notice, like you teach high school kids, the next 2 generations that you teach, I think you'll see a little ramp down.
Yeah, you know? And I mean, technology is taking over the classroom. I mean, everything's on the computer now. It's
how much has that made it easier, though?
It's made it harder, honestly.
Made it harder? Okay.
Yeah, just because you got to make sure kids are actually doing their work. And I don't like it because there's not as much interact. I like to interact with my students. I like to build
think about what you said, man. It's harder because you got to make sure they do their work.
Well,
like, aren't you supposed to be doing?
Like when you're doing things as a class, it's like, you know, they're doing it. You're working together. But when all their worksheets are on the computer, I mean, I can look at all their computers, but it is like, come on, let's go. Let's stay on task. This assignment's going to close at 2:00. Let's get it done.
They're much more distracted. Yeah.
Right. And there's not, I mean, you can block websites, but still. And also, though, too, is there's not as much interaction with my students. Like, I like to get to know them and build relationships. So there's not that as much of an opportunity to just talk and have class discussion, which I still do it, but it's just crazy what they're going towards now. And they're using it, which is good. I mean, they're saving paper and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's making kids have less social skills and, you know, being able to think. It does. The one thing I will say it does do, it makes them be more independent and think on their own, which is really good. Which I was kind of shocked that it did that, because now they can't say my teacher didn't give me the assignment.
Get wrecked.
It's all online. Your parents can see it. They'll know by this day it's closed. You can't do it any longer. There's none of that, and you have to be a problem solver. Okay, here's a question. Use the internet and research and go find the answer. So, in that regard, it is very good. It's just, I think it hurts their communication skills a little bit, and then obviously their phones and social media. But we all use it, man.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all guilty. We're just not. We're not that. We didn't grow up with it necessarily as much, but it's still crazy to see. You know?
We're actually crazily close to the same age, so you probably grew up around the same time I did. So you probably, you know, people were, you know,
25 cent text message.
Yeah, do you miss
Nokia snake games and all that stuff?
You know, I was one of the first kids on the block to have freaking internet on my phone that cost like $30 a minute. It was crazy.
Every text was 25 cents a text message. It was absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved up to BlackBerry, which was a whole nother debacle. It was crazy bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you miss like being called up to the board and kind of having to work through it with each other? Do you think you know, as a teacher, do you think there's going to be this level of camaraderie missing from future generations, or do you think, with as much as they interact on social media, do you think it's still going to be there?
I think it'll still be there. It depends on the teacher.
Okay.
I think it depends on the individual. How are you going to run your classroom? Are you going to just try to put your feet up and say, here, go on your computer, do your assignment, and when the bell rings, see you tomorrow?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that will happen. But I don't think they'll allow. I don't think that'll necessarily happen. You're always going to have. You're going to be forced to have interaction,
Yeah.
and because that's just a part of school. That's a part of teaching. But I could definitely see where it'd be easy just to say, okay, open your Chromebook. Your assignments are on there. You have 90 minutes till the bell rings to do it. And then, if a teacher doesn't want to interact, by all means, they could just shut down and say, here you go, figure it out. You know,
There was a
can't
teacher.
guarantee they'll keep their job for a long time.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm sure their state test scores and stuff would suffer. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why that couldn't happen.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So that's something people don't realize that teachers kind of are held accountable for is test scores. You know?
Yeah, which I think which is unfortunate. Because depending on where you're teaching at, the area, things like that, kids have IEPs, 504s, whatnot. It's kind of hard to base a good teacher off a test score when sometimes kids don't even care. Kids just wing it. But at the end of the day, if the kids respect the teacher and they have a good relationship, they're going to give their effort, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they are. I mean, a lot of teachers, like math, English, history, it's all, how are your state test scores? If you're not showing improvement, then it's definitely frowned upon. There's no question there.
You know, I'm going to go into a little story time. Hope you don't mind. So there was this teacher that I had when I was younger. Her name was Miss Howard. Now, Miss Howard, I doubt you're listening to this, but you told me to elaborate, so that's what I'm doing. She always would get on to me about, Bryce doesn't elaborate, elaborate. It was on every single paper that she handed back. She graded against me for it. And she was a little bit harsher on me than the rest of the students because I don't know why, right? But she ended up kind of, first of all, giving me the gift of gab that has landed me this position. And she kind of gave me the kind of bullheadedness that I've always had to kind of follow things through, right? Like there was this one assignment that she gave me that was stonefish, right? Now, I'm in 4th grade at this point. I wrote a 10-paper essay on stonefish. That's a big essay for 4th grade.
Yeah, it's pretty
impressive. Then in my little search for knowledge, doing the stonefish, which, by the way, one of the most dangerous things in Australia, they will straight up murder you. You're paralyzed. You step on a stonefish, you're done. Your neck seizes up. They have a toxin that, it stops your breathing. You're just done with life at that point. If you're in the water, I started actually doing research because it was in the same book or whatever on the mating, and I know this is going to sound weird, but on the mating rituals of sharks. So she bit off more than she could chew because this guy went ahead and did an oral presentation on a hour-long oral presentation of the mating rituals of sharks. And at the end of it, Miss Howard never asked me to elaborate again. And, it was kind of, do you think that that's still going to happen? With this disconnect between student and teacher, do you think there's still going to be that teacher that pushes students? Because I have my own theories on this. I think it's always going to be there because you never can tell what sparks your interest in something, Yeah,
it's always going to be there. Just because, that's not going to go anywhere, especially if teachers really care and they're doing it for the right reasons and teaching for the right reasons. It's going to happen just by just a natural habit. So that's not going to go anywhere.
You had any students that came back and thanked you?
Yeah, I still talk to a good amount of my students who have left. Even when I got engaged, some of them texted me or on social media messaged me. Even current students, message me and stuff like that. So I still keep in good contact with quite a few of my students, and I developed that relationship when I'm when I'm teaching them, more of a friend and a teacher kind of thing, and that really does, it makes my job easier, but it makes everything better for them in the future too. So I still keep in good contact with a lot of my kids. I mean, there's a lot, but a good handful or two handfuls every year.
Right.
And when you have 100 and some kids, if you can get, they always come back and say hi and visit, but there's still a good amount that I talk to once they leave and reach out and stuff. So that makes it, whether it's about working out, they ask me, a lot of kids like, can you send me a workout, or ask me about protein or stuff like that. They'll email me or on Instagram and stuff, and I always answer their questions, and I always help them out the best I can, because I always told them that even when you guys are done, it's not hard for me to send you a workout or have made up, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm much rather have them ask me than going and trying to read something online. It's a bunch of BS, or buying a product that's not good and stuff like that. So
let's talk a little bit about that. So you have been coaching athletes for quite a while. How long have you been coaching? And you actually, what I'm going to do in the thumbnail of this video is I'm going to use a picture of the gym that he actually had built. It's actually pretty cool. I'm actually a little bit jealous of the gym that they have. I mean, it was your brainchild, get all that equipment in there, right? So you're the one that picked out.
Yeah, I designed it out and laid it out and stuff like that. Yep.
That's insane. So let's talk a little bit about young athletes. Real quickly, can we run through some things that you think that young athletes should always keep in mind when it comes to athletics? So training, nutrition, all that stuff.
I mean, the biggest thing first is like thinking about school. Like, the chance you making money off playing sports is less than 1%. So use sports to get you education at a discounted price if you can, and always see the big picture in that regard. And then when it comes to nutrition, a lot of kids, they don't realize they need to eat. They don't either need to, whether it's peanut butter and jellies, whatever. Eat to be able to grow and not be a skinny little, prick. I mean, those are like the biggest things that kind of cover a lot. If you focus on the academics and think about using your sport to build a future for you through education, then you never know. You could go and play and make money. You never know.
Right.
But if you always think, I'm going to play, professional baseball, the chances of that happening aren't very good, and then you have nothing to fall back on.
Right.
So I always try to teach big picture, and having a good work ethic will only help you in every aspect of life, not just basketball, baseball, football. So learning to work hard now will make everything else in your life easier as you get older.
Yeah. And do you have any specific tips for female athletes?
Don't be afraid to lift weights.
Okay, because I knew you were going to do that one. Because that,
I mean, you're not going to get too big. And I do have I have quite a bit of girls who take my class every year. It's been more and more. And they actually work out. They actually lift. And they do a good job. But don't be afraid to lift. If you just do cardio, then you're going to look like you just do cardio. And you're not going to look the way you think you want to look. You need to lift. You're not going to get too big. It's not possible. Just lift.
And they adapt pretty well to training, too.
Yes, they do. Yep. They adapt very quick. And actually they have better recovery, better endurance, better mental capacity for handling pain than men. So they can actually train a lot more intense and a lot harder than a male can, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's just very few are afraid to push themselves to that level. But hormonally and mentally, women are actually kind of bred to be able to withstand more pain, hence having a child. So when it comes to training, they have the mental fortitude to be able to push themselves harder than men usually can, and their cardiovascular is usually better. They're actually, if you can find a female who trains hard, they're actually pretty good training partners in all reality.
And I would, to all the young female athletes out there, I doubt you listen to this podcast, but if you do stumble upon it, I would also suggest looking into explosive plyometrics type movements. They seem to work extremely well in female athletes, especially when it comes to, building a booty and getting them thighs big and, even toning up your arms and stuff like that. Plyometric movements really are, because again, you're taking advantage of the cardiovascular system as well as the strength system that anaerobic. There we go.
Yep.
So you know, don't be afraid to lift some weights, but also don't be afraid to do some box jumps. I'm a big fan of box jumps and
they're very beneficial
like that. So I think with that'll wrap it up. I was trying to awkwardly think of a way to wrap it up, but I think that it just came out. So, thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you want to subscribe, there's the pillow. Don't click it. Click the subscribe button below and click the bell so that you are notified of our episodes, because that's a problem. Fix it, YouTube. I think in the next episode that I have you on, we might cover, if you're okay with it, the obesity epidemic. And
yeah,
like
for sure.
From life stages. So what you can do about it as a kid, what you can do about it as a young adult, and what you can do about it.
I would go off on that topic.
Yeah.
My dad's overweight, my sister's overweight, and my little niece is going in the wrong direction of being already a bigger girl and seeing my sister feeding her. So, no, that's a topic I've done a lot of research on, and I love it. We can have a really good hate cast on that because we can go off. That's very... We'll be blunt though. People might get butthurt, but that'll be good. That one I will look forward to.
And it's something you can share with you know, to help out some people too. If you ever
for sure.
You know, have people asking what they can do or where to start, because I think that's where people get lost. But in the next episode, there will be a Jamie Lewis Q&A, and in the episode after that, we will cover a topic on the incel movement. That's coming up. With Jamie and a guest.
How's he doing?
Guest. He's doing good. He's doing good.
Staying out of trouble?
Oh, yeah. No, he's not.
He had a good wake-up call finally, I think.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, we will see you in the next one. I thought I was going to do a cool transition, and then I realized I'm too lazy to edit.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of their women. That is good. That is good.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living online, my city don't show me no love and that's fine. Fuck local radio stations, I got more plays than all of these rappers combined. I'm going again, I've been going in, I'm fed up with so many things, I gotta just let it all out. I'm talking about the shit they've been talking about, telling me I should do this, telling me I should do that, telling me things about rap, talking the truth and that stab in my back, they will knock me off track. No, too many things have been building, been hard to deal with, I just been drinking. Remember my moves in the past, I'm wondering what was I thinking. Lately I'm living in fear, wondering what if the end is so near. All of this shit going on, the shootings are strong, one shot to the head and I'm gone. I'm losing control but I can't let it go, cause I'm trying to get more. And I've been in the moment, I've been in the zone, and I'm moving alone. I don't pick up the phone when my family call, I've been doing it wrong and I don't know what's happening. Trying to get what I just been imagining, getting close and I just been examining all of the fake shit the game has been packaging.
Power pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
I come from a town where most of the people are so close-minded. They go into school and they work in a job, but they don't even like it. I won't be put in a box, nobody telling me what I should rock, nobody telling me what I should drop, cause I do what I want and just know I don't stop. Recording till 4 in the morning, they snoring, I'm pouring my soul into every story. I'm writing, producing, I mix it, I master, I'm building my craft, and I'm not looking back. I've been going doing things I wanna do when I want to. Everybody wanna get away, but they not do. Everybody wanna copy you, but they not you. Everybody wanna be cool, but they not new. Whoa, look how I go, gonna be a dentist, I still got the flow. Never gonna lose cause I'm still doing both. Never gonna lose cause I've been on the road. Come to your state and I'm killing the show. Know that I'm young and I still gotta grow. Know that I'm working the most, know I'm never gonna choke, and I'm looking back down on the people below.
I've been keeping real, I've been doing what I feel. I've been out here trying to kill every beat, I know I will. Everything I'm working on